Welcome to Ibis Weather. This is Sarah. This is the update for August 23rd, 2025. I know if you watched the video yesterday, I mentioned I wasn't sure if I was going to have an update today, as we were at the time waiting for Tropical Storm Fernand to form, but here we are. 24 hours later, he has formed. So, we're going to go over about him, talk about the other little wave out there that is trying to form into something, and talk about where it looks like they may track, what we can expect, and all the things related to the right now what's currently going on in the tropics. So let's go ahead and get started with Fernand. Right now he has max sustained winds of 40 miles per hour, so he is tropical storm. His central pressure is only 1010, and he is right now moving north at 15 miles per hour, so he's got a decent amount of speed onto him. He's expected to remain over the open ocean, which is good, so his eye should not make landfall anywhere. Of course, will he live to be able to get to become a hurricane? We'll get into that in just a moment. Let's go ahead and look at the warning cone, as this is always important to see. So you can see he is actually quite small, and it looks like he will be passing to the east of the Bermuda, which is good news for Bermuda. Granted, we'll have to wait and see how big his wind field gets. Does seem like he is trying to get around the area that basically was cooled by the upwelling from Hurricane Aaron. So some of you do see these tropical storms while they're not living entities of their own, they do seem to kind of have a mind of their own, as I mentioned in the past. And you will know sometimes they will try to find an area that is, if that's what you can even consider it, but they find a way to succeed in becoming something. And it kind of seems like that's what he's doing, as he's taking, more eastern trek away from the cooler waters of where Aaron was. If you remember, Aaron was more over here compared to Bermuda, and he'll be over here. It looks like they're not expecting him to become a hurricane, just a tropical storm, so that's good. He seems like he'll have a pretty short-lived life. By Wednesday afternoon, becoming a post-tropical cyclone as he enters again the cooler waters of the northern Atlantic, which is good news. That is good news for everyone. Let's go ahead and look at his current satellite presentation. He's still not looking um, the super well. Granted, tropical storms typically do seem a little bit like kind of a messy slob. He's certainly kind of fitting that. You definitely see the northward track, kind of a northeast movement, and there is definitely some convection firing off. It looks like he is definitely being a little bit sheared out as well. Let's look at the models. Again, the models pretty much all show him missing Bermuda and just going northeast and going into the open Atlantic. This is for the Euro models. And then this is for the GFS. Does take it some of them a little bit further out east, away from most of the consensus. So we'll have to kind of wait and see what he does. Tropical storm for non-intensity models. So only one seems to take him to become a Cat 1. Some of them take him close, but most of them showing him not quite reaching that status during his short lived life. So that's good news. So basically, Bermuda, just continue to monitor it just in case the models, as I always say, they probably will change between now and then. Um, as we know, so just keep a close eye. Luckily, he kind of formed closer, so we have a little bit of a better idea. Now that they know that he is indeed a tropical storm, that should help the models run a little bit consistent and find out too. But there does seem to be a good consensus right now that he will stay to your east and hopefully stay rather small. I'll get back to that moment. One thing I did want to look at, we can look at together, is obviously public advisory. See what they right now. No coastal watches or warnings. The same gradual increase in forward speed in the next couple of days. Um, he could be near hurricane strength by Monday. Weakening will begin on Tuesday. And the tropical storm force winds extend outward up to 105 miles from center. So he is a relatively small storm right now, which is a good news. Hopefully he will not grow or grow much if he does. Let's see what the discussion says. So yeah, basically what we've been saying, which is good news. Again, kind of talking about how he's kind of tracking to the east of where Aaron was, and we'll go ahead and look at that in just a moment with this. So this is showing the anomaly for 7 day change on the Atlantic. So if you notice, he's kind of generally over here more in the orange yellow before he enters the blue. So warmer than normal, a little bit warmer than normal for this time of the year in the past 7 days. But if you notice all this blue over here, this is where Erin was. And of course, again, as I've said before, such a large storm and circulation, she did end up upwelling cooler waters, which cooled those water off, which is good. But in time, they will heat back up. So that this area should just be hurricane proof for the rest of the season. We'll see them warm back up within the next few days, likely. And see what happens with that. But right now, it does seem like he is trying to avoid that as well. Now, to go on to the topic of uh, what is Invest 99L over here. So they give it very low chance for both 20% for 48 hours and 7 days to form. Or 650 miles east of the Windward Islands, saying that it could try to develop something in the next few days. Of course, heavy rain, gusty winds are possible over for the Windward Islands through tomorrow and Monday, and then conditions over Central Caribbean are expected to be unfavorable. So if we go back and look over here, as you can see, go over there kind of by the Leeward Islands. It definitely is a bit cooler. Again, that's partly due to the upwelling that Aaron did. Um, so that's what I think. Now, if the moisture was what I was trying to think of. What was the word? Moisture. If the moisture stays around and it keeps summer remnants, if it continues to drift more west or northwest, it will enter in a few days. Warmer conditions if it stays continues to ride further south and as it gets closer to the Yucatan. We'll have to kind of wait and see. If it goes a little bit more north over there, like closer to Hispaniola or Cuba, again, it could reach a little bit more favorable conditions. So we'll kind of have to kind of watch that and see. Again, as I mentioned, sometimes we've had these zombie waves where they try to form something, they kind of fall apart. And as they continue, the remnants continue to move. Then once they get into a better spot, they're able to recondition. And typically, anything that has typically been invest 99L typically is seen as a storm that will be a problematic storm. So that's kind of why we're, a little bit more concerned about this to see what someone does. Like, normally we'd be happy to see it entering less favorable conditions. But as we are now in the peak of hurricane season, that's really hard to say that it won't have a second chance. And, especially if it enters the warmer waters over there by the Yucatan and Central America or into the actual Gulf, could spell trouble, unfortunately. So it's just something we'll have to continue to monitor for the next few days or so on that particular system, which we'll look at some more information about just a moment. And if we look at the floater page, or known as a satellite image, it has definitely been sheared out. We do see, so it looks like there's a little bit of convection firing off a little bit to the southeast of it. And it looks like it's also being a little bit pulled up north. So we'll have to continue to see what happens. There is a little bit of convection still within it, but it seems like it is kind of weakening in general as it's entering cooler conditions and less favorable conditions. So again, it's something we will have to continue to watch and see what this wave may do in the coming days. As for the spaghetti plots for 99L, again, it's keeping it as a low rider closer to South America, taking it to the southern island chain over there, and we'll see what happens with that. And this is for the GFS. Let's go ahead and look at the euro. Euro is very similar. Now, we do see a couple of the euro. We saw this a few days ago. Kind of some of them trying to pull it up more north. One definitely takes it over there by Cuba. One seems like it's trying to take it over there by between Cuba and the Yucatan. But most of them keeping over there by Central America and just petering out. Now, again, what could happen is it could continue to have, unfavorable conditions. If it does go over like the Yucatan or Central America, it could get into the Pacific, and if the Pacific is more favorable, could redevelop into something that's like that, something stronger, which is possible as well. So, of course, while I document mostly just the Atlantic side and not so much the Pacific, unless we're talking about like something impacting Alaska or Hawaii. that is a possibility as well. For current wind shear, which is part of the reason why we're seeing some of this issue happen, I did want to kind of highlight. So this is over here where right now, Fernand is, or Fernand, I have to remember that. Fernand is formed. Do you see he is kind of over there by low to moderate shear? And then, of course, invest in 99 else kind of over here is entering more into more sheer as well. It does look like it will have maybe a little spot closer to the Leeward Islands of low, to up mid to lower moderate. But if it gets past that and gets over there by Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, it would, again would stay in a little bit more of a low to moderate shear and all that before it would have any chances. So it definitely seems like it could have some issues of finding a spot that would really would be favorable for its further development. Again, like the show, obviously the winds. So as you can see here, here's Fernand. He's like I said, a small little hurricane, or not hurricane, sorry, tropical storm. So he's definitely got that circulation. He's tightly rotating, which is nice. If you notice over here by the Carolinas and Georgia, there is a low that is off the coast right now. That is bringing a lot of moisture and bringing some currently. If we go over here again, kind of southeast of the Leeward Islands, we do see what 99L is doing right now and looking like. Um, so it's still trying to have some rotation, doesn't look as good as it could. Um, so that is, interesting. Like they were saying, it looks like it might, if it goes southwest, it could just bury itself into South America. I also wanted to highlight, as we are in the peak of season, it does seem like we have some areas starting to rotate over there over Africa and a little bit off by Cabo Verde Islands. So we'll watch and see if any of those areas or spots get designated as another place of area of interest in Atlantic for tropical systems. Um, but this is always fun. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the heights. So let's look at for 1,000. Um, so let's see again over there. 99L is trying. Um, again for 850. Okay, 700. Looks like it doesn't really have much going on. We'll notice over here, Fernand is over there by what appears to be, I'm going to guess the uh, Bermuda High, as it's called, and he's kind of riding along the western edge of it. But you can see he's kind of have elongated there, which is why, again, he's a tropical storm right now. If we look at 500, again, it looks like 99L is just not doing anything. Same goes for 250. Interesting enough, though, a little bit to the northeast of the Leeward Islands, there seems to be something. So maybe it will split off. We'll wait and see. But right now, I don't think we're expecting much with it. And then at 70, nothing, and 10, nothing. So that is interesting to always see kind of, how low, how high the rotation goes with it, and kind of gives an idea of, is it going to really stick it out and do well with it or not. It's always kind of fun to see. And then let's look at the water vapor as I mentioned before. So even if 99L does dissipate and come nothing, again, 99L's right over here. This is where Fernand is. And like I mentioned, these are some areas that look like that might end up coming next ones that we might be watching. And over here by the Carolinas down to Florida, and of course across the Gulf Coast, we do see there is quite a bit of moisture being pulled in there in storms. Um, but back to this one, I was wondering and thinking, does it going to have a lot of moisture with it as it is appearing to weaken? The wave for 99L, which in this view doesn't seem to be weakening that much. We're again seeing, firing off some of the moisture and definitely seeing more moisture kind of around it and everything. So we'll have to wait and see if this moisture doesn't dry up. I mean, it is over the Atlantic, so getting close to the Caribbean, so there's a chance that it will survive, at least the remnants of it. But again, we'll have to kind of wait and see. Time will tell when it comes to what 99L is. And again, we do have Fernand as the next tropical storm. He should stay a fish storm. And when I say fish storm, I really mean it, meaning his eyes should not impact anywhere, and he probably won't do much to Bermuda. Still, if you're in Bermuda, I would recommend just to watch and monitor because it's still kind of a close call after experiencing Hurricane Aaron to your west, and this one going to possibly, most likely, to your east. While it does look like he'll stay a small storm and stay quite far offshore, I'm sure rough surf and choppy waters will be something you will experience at least all along your eastern side of the island. But it's like I said, it's not a bad idea to monitor in case we do see any changes. But since it's so close to you guys already, the likeliness of dramatic changes is pretty low. And that is the update that we have for tonight. I'm sure, we'll have another update tomorrow. Probably will be on the shorter side as like this one has been. I am currently working on a couple different video ideas coming up that have nothing to do with current storms or current storm chances. So that's exciting. Please feel free to share and subscribe. And if there's anything particularly, any type of video you want to see regarding the tropics or hurricanes or past storms or anything, just hurricanes in general or weather even in general, please feel free to let me know in the comments. Even if it gets a little bit political, that's okay as well. Uh, just so we have something to talk about, and I'm making sure that I'm keeping you guys informed as well as entertained as we continue on. Also, feel free to follow me on Facebook, where I do post a little bit more frequent updates along a couple of different things, not just the tropical weather as well. And thank you guys for listening, and I'll talk to you later.